Diesel engines. What happens when you run them dry? Whether it's a 715 with a conversion motor in it, any 6.2 truck, any 6.5 truck. Heck, I had somebody ask me 2 nights ago. Say he ran his tractor dry. What does he got to do? Bleed the filters. That's all you can do. I don't know the procedure for every single vehicle, but I do know the 6.2s, 6.5s procedures. And that's what I'm going to go over here. How do I know this so well? Because this thing got this wonderful huge filler neck, and it's got a pretty darn long 28-gallon tank. And from having the tank out and playing with a vacuum pump, I know you have to have an inch of fuel in the bottom of the tank with the tank level for the fuel to get sucked up and taken to the engine. I was running low. I had an errand to do in town. It was a Friday afternoon, and the Highway 290 here in town, it seems I'm halfway between, I'm in between Houston and Austin. It seems half of Austin wants to go to Houston every Friday afternoon, and half of Houston wants to go to Austin. It's a mess. And you can probably hear the train whistle in the background. When a train comes through and blocks all the traffic, it's even more of a mess. So I was trying to get so I could pull into somewhere, pull back on, make a right turn instead of having to cross traffic, run an errand. I was low on fuel. I was planning on getting fuel on my way home, but I thought I had enough. Well, I had to go down a hill. Going down that hill, this thing sputtered a little bit. It's like, no problem. Get to the bottom of the hill, it died. And now I'm in a bowl, the bottom of a hill, and it's dead. So I went through the procedure I'm going to show in a few minutes. Got it fired back up. Of course, my alternator's down, my voltmeter's down low because both batteries are really drained. And I go to climb up out of that hill, and since the pickup is in the middle of the fuel tank, all the fuel went to the back of the tank this time, and I started sputtering almost to the top. I didn't make the top. And I know from experience now, with this vehicle, the Cowdog and some of the 1009s, your batteries are good enough to get you one dry start. From a dry pump to a primed running pump. You cannot get two. No matter how good your batteries are, you cannot get two. So I'm going to take you through that. I'm using this vehicle because it's real easy to get to the fuel line and pull it off. Let me show you. What I'm going to do is I am just going to, I added a fuel pump back here because I was tired of doing, that's another story. But this is the fuel line. This is the fuel feed from the tank. This is to the front of the truck. So this is the exit to the fuel line. So if I pull this off, which I got the tool ready to do, we'll run dry. And what we're going to do, well, I'll just do it. Get the camera back up high. All right, let me fire it up, put my gloves on, and we'll get to it. The truck is at 185 degree water temperature right now, but the glow, it's 80 degrees out this morning. The glow plugs are still having to cycle. I'm gonna let them cycle. Fires right up. Just because I'm gonna get diesel fuel everywhere, I'm gonna go and put gloves on. And you'll notice I'm parked next to my power pole because I got a plug on there so I can charge the batteries. I can also use the 1009 to slave start it if I had to, or I could just hook up and pull it. I planned this out in case things don't go as well as I think they will in a few minutes. We'll see. All right, let me pull the fuel line off. Purposely making a leak on a fuel line just doesn't feel right. All right, fuel line. What's going to the engine is now air. And if it follows pattern, you'll hear the engine rev up a little bit before it dies. It'll take a minute or two here, but this is the fuel line. There's no fuel going to the engine, except what's in the pump already. Since I didn't get myself a bolt to put in here so I can walk away, I'm stuck here. Again, I started with a warm engine on a somewhat warm day, so it was never a question of glow plugs or anything else. It's just a matter of fuel. But at idle, we can run quite a while with no fuel. This guy drained the entire fuel filter out. You can hear my MV4500 input shaft rattling. They all do that, it seems, with the microphone down this low. I guess I should have moved. Did you hear it? It revved up a little bit and then it died. All right, let me put the fuel line back on. It revved up and then died. Okay, so we have run the injection pump dry. Let me wipe off my, golly, diesel everywhere. Let me turn off the key, off the ignition. All right, that took quite a bit of time. So now we have to bleed the system of air and make it so it'll work again. All diesel fuel filters, like on the cow dog here. Let me zoom in. Yeah. This is a Standine FM100 filter base and filter. Right there's the bleeder. You just pull that out, and air goes through. When I did this conversion, oh golly, I started 11 years ago. There, I'm zeroed in on the filter. Filter bases are expensive. This one I got from Napa, and I think the base itself was $35, $40. It didn't have a bleeder. So I drilled and tapped a hole and added a radiator drain cock on there. All right, so here's what you gotta do. No matter what vehicle you have, if you have a way of bleeding the filter, and they all should, you start with a pink wire. Let me zoom in on it again. Pink wire right here to the top of the injection pump. What we're gonna do is you pull the pink wire off. It's got a little catch on it. So the pink wire is off. So now there is no power to the injection pump. Then no matter what kind of filter assembly you have, open the bleeder. That's a suction. I was not expecting that bit of pressure. Oh, that's air from my mechanical lift pump, because it goes from the tank to the lift pump to the filter to the IP. So that was pressure built up by the mechanical lift pump sunk in air. All right, so we have the pink wire pulled, the bleeder on the filter is open. Now I just turn the engine over. You only got to turn the key on. Oh, mine you don't have to, but the rest of them you have to turn the key to turn it. So you just turn it. I couldn't see. Got air. So you do that until you get solid fuel at the bleeder. Then you close it. Now, on mine, I have, back up again. A lot of people say what you gotta do is you need to crack the injector lines. Zoom back in. As in going down here at the injector, crack that line while you're spinning. It doesn't really help that much. You can do it, because then you can see if you're getting fuel or not. You get verification. Yeah, it's working, but you don't have to. The best way to do it is pull the glow plugs. Or if you have a manual transmission, have somebody pull you around. But I'm trying to do this by myself and try to demonstrate how I do it. So what I'm doing now, once I zoom back in, is my bleeder's closed, my ignition is off. I installed an electric fuel pump on this truck back when I had the 396 big block gas engine in here that always seemed, I had carburetor issues sometimes on hills. A couple of cats are mad at each other. Interesting. So I'm going to turn on my electric fuel pump. Electric fuel pump is on. Yeah, you hear my glow plugs clicking. And I'm going to open the bleeder. We got air. Got fuel residue, but not solid fuel. Pause it for a sec. Okay, now I got solid fuel. You see the difference? I think I got something not blocked. Non-foamy fuel. Well, now it's foamy again. There. Non-foamy fuel coming out. The filter is now full. So now we got to bleed the injection pump. The only way to do that is turning the engine over. Turning it over. So I'm going to put the camera back over here. Now I got my fuel pump running down my battery. It's probably going to take longer. But like I said, I planned ahead in case this didn't work out right. Okay. I'm just going to crank. And I do it for a count of 20. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not doing any good at all because my pink wire's not hooked up. Plug in the pink wire. Otherwise it will never start. Plug in the pink wire. Pink wire is now plugged in. And of course, like me, you can always hope it's going to fire right up now. No problems. Let's see what happens. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It almost started. But I now wait at least a minute. Because I was at 10 to 15 seconds there. The starter's hot. Cats are having disagreement. The electric fuel pump made this go quicker. The 1009s, it takes 4 to 5 20-second cycles. And I try to do, I just count to 20 cycles. Count to 20, wait at least a minute or so, and then try again. So I got I'm gonna turn it back on. Ooh, it started up. And you see it's not running right. It's missing and hunting, and it's just not happy. My belts are squealing because the batteries are down. Yeah, it's not happy at all, but it's running. Let's make sure I have no leaks back here. Nope, no leak back there. And it's still, the engine's still hopping around a little bit. Not as bad now. You can hear it kind of being unhappy though. The way that every now and then it's bouncing around a little bit. It takes a few minutes for all the air to get out of all the lines. But that is all you gotta do. You run it dry. Just trying to memorize the noise. Yeah, it didn't do it. I'm gonna let it run and charge the battery up some. I've had to do the same thing on this truck. When I changed fuel filters and I forgot to pull the red wire, the pink wire off, tried to start it, bunch of air in there, because I tried to bleed it without pulling the pink wire. So it was 4 or 5 20-second attempts, and then it fired up. This one being a 12 volt doesn't spin as fast as the 24 volt starters. I love the 24 volt starters on the CUCVs, but having the rest of the truck, so I have AC and a radio, I like that too. I like that better. Electric fuel pump's a big help. Hopefully this was a good tutorial on you run your engine dry, drain your filter without getting power to the pump, and then just spin it over. So, hope that helps somebody.